This.
Okay.
Let's see. I did some algebraic expressions.
Okay.
Um, ooh, it was one of those post tests, Professor Tinsley, the one that you told me to take it, the 45 questions. I think I did another one of those, but to be honest with you, I don't even remember myself. I know I
Okay.
just took one the day before yesterday, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. So real quick, so even though it's GD Math Monday, um Darlene is taking her science, so I want to go over a Punnett square, which is on the science exam, and then we're gonna go move back to um one of the exams that you were talking about.
Okay.
So when we talk about Punnett squares, that has to do with heredity. Okay, heredity has to do with genes. Okay, so a Punnett square is like you see, it's a square, and it has the um, excuse me, the genotypes for each male and female um, of that offspring. So in this case, it says in cabbage butterflies, white wings are dominant. So what you want to remember is when we talk about dominant and recessive genes, dominant are the capital letters, recessive genes are the lowercase letters. So also remember with a dominant gene, it will take over. So there's a dominant gene, it will take over. Okay. So in this case, it says white wings are dominant to yellow wings. So we're going to underline that. It says if a and this is it says a capital W and a lowercase w, right? So we have homozygous and heterozygous. So the prefixes you need to recognize is homo being the same and hetero, just like heterosexual, is different. So in this case, this will be heterozygous. This will be homozygous recessive. Why? Because they're the same and they're both lowercase. So then we just so the things you want to so you want to remember certain keywords: homozygous, heterozygous. Um, you also want to know dominant and recessive. You want to be familiar with the term allele, which is another word for gene. So when you look at this, they have genotype, phenotype, and the probability. So genotype has to do with the genes. The phenotype has to do with the characteristic, the physical characteristic. So when I look at this, how I would set this up is, first of all, they don't tell you which one is male or female, but let's just call this the male. Let's call this the female. So we have a dominant gene and a recessive gene, and then the female. So we call this male, this female, and the female has two recessive genes. So then we just go to each cell. We do the combination of that cell. So we go across and above. So we got a uppercase, we got a lowercase. In this cell, we go across, we go down, so we got a lowercase and a lowercase. Here, up and over, so we have an uppercase and a lowercase. Then over here, we have a lowercase and a lowercase. So the first thing you notice is that these two here have capital letters. So that means they have dominant genes. The dominant genes means you have white wings. So this means this would be white wings. That would be the characteristic. This would be white wings because the dominant gene takes over. And then these are yellow. Again, this is a probability. So this is basically a math question. So the two options you have in this Punnett square here is you have a capital W, lowercase w, and you have two lowercase w's. That's the only two genotypes you have in this Punnett square. The phenotype means the characteristic. This would have white wings. This would have yellow wings. But that's not what they're going to ask you. They're going to ask you the probability, the chance of having a white wing, yellow wing. So here, how many do we have that would be white? Two out of four, which is one half. which is 0.5, which is 50%. The reason why I put all three, because sometimes they'll have the fraction, sometimes they'll have the decimal, sometimes they have the percent. Now, in this case, yellow is also 2 out of 4, which is 1/2, which is 0.5, which is 50%. So there's a 50% chance that their offspring will have white wings. There's a 50% chance that offspring have yellow wings. So again, Darlene, what we'll do is we'll go over some more examples when I see you tomorrow to go over your science. I just wanted to touch base on that because a lot of people are sending me emails about the Punnett scores. Okay.
Okay. All right.
All right. So now when we talk about this math, we talk about. So you said you would. Let me see if I can find your example. So do you remember the assessment that you took so I can look that up specifically?
Um, yes, I want to say it was one of the, I think I want to say that it was algebraic post test, not the one that I was trying to get to before, but I just took this with Stacey. I'm not in Canvas, but I did a couple of them, but I can't remember which ones it was. I apologize.
So algebraic equations, you did pretty good. I see that you did pretty good on that one. Let's see. You did look like you did the common measurements, the decimal pretest fraction. So you've been working, huh? Nah.
Just a little bit.
Hmm. Let me try to find this one with the because there's so many assessments. Let me try to find the one talk about the algebraic advance. Okay, I see it right here. Let me see if I can open that up. And for some reason I can't open it up. There we go. Now this algebra is a pre and post.
Okay.
And what that means is pre and post is you take it once, see what you know, then you go study what you don't know, and um then you go over, then you take it again. So let me just find out. You don't mind if I put your test up here, right?
Of course, no, by all means.
So let's go over the ones that did not understand. So 18 out of 20. It's not too bad. Uh so you got that one, right? That's pretty good. So one times six, one times six, one times six. Good. Let's find the ones that you did not get right. Let's see how you did. Actually, you doing pretty good. Some of these, you you should be proud of yourself. Okay. Okay, so this one right here. Um, this actually came from a test assessment from community college. This came from an example of an assessment test to get into community college, right? It says the equation for
Mhm.
the line M is what? So first of all, you have to identify, right?
Yeah.
What line is M? So here, this is N, this is L, this is M. So the line M is right there. So two things you need for the equation of a line. You need the slope and you need the y-intercept. So the y-intercept is where the line crosses the y-axis. So if we look at M, it crosses the y-axis right there. This is your y-axis. This is your x-axis. So right away, 1, 2, 3, 4, we know the answer must be y equal mx minus 4 because we know what the y-intercept is minus 4. So we know it can't be A. We know it can't be C. So the only two options we have are B and D. Now, the next thing you look at is from left to right, what direction is it going? It's going up. So we know it's a positive slope. So you don't even have to do any work to get that answer because we know it's a positive slope. Because if you look at this answer, this is a negative slope of -3. So we can eliminate that because the slope is negative. Now, how you do it algebraically is first of all, find the y-intercept, b equals -4. We're going to use that point right there. We got to pick a second point to get our, so let's use this one here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So remember the slope is rise over run. So we went up, I forgot what I said that quick. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. And then we went over 1, 2. 6 over 2 is 3. So our slope is 3. Our y-intercept is -4. And we should all know from slope-intercept form, our equation is y equal mx. Our slope is 3. So instead of mx, we're going to put 3x. And then our y-intercept is -4. So our equation of the line is y equals 3x minus 4. Got me?
Yeah, those can be a little bit confusing too.
And so that's what you have to look at. So here you had to identify which one was m. That's the first thing you're going to do. If they give you a graph and they ask about the equation of the line, the first thing you're going to do is identify that y-intercept, because you can eliminate usually 2 of the answers just by knowing the y-intercept. The second thing you can do is identify the slope positive or negative, because that's going to probably eliminate some. So if you notice, without having to do that rise and run, I didn't do that rise and run to come to answer B, because I identified the y-intercept was -4 and I identified the slope was positive. So I eliminated all 3 and then I'm done. That would take me about 15 seconds. Now, if you do the rise over run and all that, it's going to take you longer than that, but you don't need to. Understand?
Yes, thank you.
That's good. That's good. But you did listen. Look at all these. Look at you tearing it up. Okay. Y equals 3x and 4x minus 2 equals 5. Then y equals what? Wow. So you're looking at
Uh-oh.
this like, before I even start, right? Like, yep,
Yep,
right?
exactly.
It looks. I don't know how to do this, right? Like this is what you want to do. They're telling you that y equal to 3x. So everywhere I see y, I'm going to put 3x. So 4x minus 2 times y, so y is 3x, equals 5. Understand that?
Yes,
So all we do is substitute. Everywhere we see y, we can put 3x. So 4x minus 6x equals 5. Understand that?
yes,
So we get uh, minus 2x equals 5, and minus 2x equals 5. Divide by -2. X equals, that's a -2, equals -5 over 2. X equals -5 over 2. Got me?
yes.
Okay, good. Ooh, look at you. Look at you. You've been working on them exponent rules, huh?
The ones that you showed me, but to be honest with you, Professor Tinsley, or one, not this one, but the one below that, I'm not gonna tell you a story. I winged it with that one. I really did.
Well, part of it is sometimes you may not know how to do something. You may not know how to do something, but how you eliminate it. So what you gotta remember, your exponent rules tells you when you raise to a power, you multiply the exponent. So on the top, you have x to the 10th, because why? This is raised to the 5th power. 5 times 2 is 10. Understand that?
Yes,
3 times 5 is what?
15.
15. So we got y to the 15th. Understand that?
Yes,
Then we have x over 7 divided by x over 9, y over 9. I'm sorry. And then remember, our exponent rules only work for exponents with the same base. So again, we'll do that one first. So when you divide exponents with the same base, you subtract the exponents. 10 minus 7 is what?
10 minus 7 is 3,
3. And then 15 minus 9 is what?
6.
That's how you get that answer.
Wow.
You got it right though, but that's good. So you probably knew how to do it, just like maybe wasn't 100% sure. Okay. Now look at this one right here. Okay, this type of problem, even though we are practicing for the GED, you don't really see this a whole lot, but you see it sometimes. Okay, this is prevalent on the high set in the task test uh, all the time, but it's still a problem you should be able to do. But what they do is they throw a little monkey wrench into the game. They put this second expression in parentheses, and then you have that minus sign on the outside. So what this minus sign tells you on the outside of the parentheses means change the sign of everything inside. So first of all, I'm gonna bring this down. x squared minus 6x plus 2. And then I'm going to change the sign of everything in here. So 3x squared becomes minus 3x squared. Plus 7x becomes minus 7x. Minus 1 becomes plus 1. Anytime you have a negative on the outside of parentheses, like that, you are changing the size of everything inside. It's basically saying I'm multiplying by minus 1. That's basically what you do. So now we have like terms. What are the like terms in this expression?
Like terms is 6x,
6x and what else?
3x.
Y'all don't see a 3x. We see a
Oh,
3x.
I'm sorry, 6x and 7x.
What kind of 7x?
Negative 7x.
Negative 7. So those are two like terms. What's minus 6 minus 7?
Minus 6 minus 7. Is that a 1?
Nope. Minus
No,
6
I'm
minus 7.
minus 6 minus 7. That negative 13?
Negative 13. So minus 6 minus 7, because we remember when we have like terms, we combine the coefficients. So we got minus 13x. So right away, by knowing that middle term, we know it's not A, we know it's not B. So now, at least by just knowing how to combine combining those two terms, we eliminated two answers. We at least now got a 50-50 chance. Now here, we got x squared and minus 3x squared. Let me change the colors a little bit. Let me change it back to red. So we got x squared, and we have minus 3x squared. Those are also like terms. Again, when you don't see a coefficient, it's like it's a 1 there. So minus 3 plus 1. So 1 minus 3 is minus 2. So therefore, when we combine these, we'll have minus 2x squared. We're going to bring down that minus 13x. So now we know the first two terms. Those last two answers have both the same two terms. So now we just got to combine the last two terms. So now I'm going to change my color again. I'm going to green. We have a plus 2 and a plus 1. So what's 2 plus 1?
3.
3. So that's our final term. We combine those two like terms. So our final answer is minus 2x squared minus 13x, not plus 1, but plus 3. But again, those are simple mistakes. So you should be looking at this like, okay, okay.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, just, oh, God got you.
Okay, this was good. That's a good. You'll be able to multiply um, polynomials. Now this, you see this right here?
Yes.
This is a problem you may see on the exam. They tell you to factor quadratic. Okay. What I would say is instead of trying to factor, I would multiply the multiple choice answers. That's what I would do. Okay. Now I'll show you both ways. So first of all, what I would do is you see that all the coefficients are even.
Mm-hmm.
First thing you realize you can do, you can pull out, you can factor out greatest common factor. So 2 is a number that can go into 6, it can go into 20, it can go into 16. So if I pull a 2 out, I'm going to have 3x squared. 20 divided by 2 is 10. And minus 16 divided by 2 is 8. Okay. Now, factoring this can be very difficult. So in my mind, what I would tell you is if you already know you factored out a 2, you already know it can't be B and it can't be D because you've already factored out a 2, right?
Yes.
Second thing I would do is let's look at this. Minus 2 times plus 4, because that's going to give me my last term. It's going to give me minus 8. That matches. That could be the answer. Plus 4 plus 2, or 4 times 2, is going to give me 8. That is not going to give me the last term. So look at that. I found out my answer without doing any work. without factoring anything. Just by knowing that my coefficients are even, I can factor out a multiplier and then find out what my last term is. Because I see my multiple choice, I had a -8 and a +8. I know I need to get the -8. So that's the way I would have done it. But which you should also see, I would have finished that like 15 seconds. Now, this is what they want you to do. This is what they want you to do. They want you to say, okay, factor out that 2. You get 3x squared plus 10x minus 8. So what you got to recognize is that this is a quadratic equation. The standard form of a quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So here, my a is 3, my b is 10, my c is -8. You're just taking the coefficients here, and that's how you get your a, b, and c. Really simple. But this is the hard part. This is why this problem on the GED is considered a difficult problem. Most people would take 5 to 7 minutes to solve this problem. Okay, so then you factor. If A was 1, you would factor C, but A is not 1. A is 3. So we're going to factor A and C. So 3 times -8 is -24. So we get 1, -24, 2, -12, 3, -8, 4, and -6. Those are all the factor pairs that will give you -24. But we know when you have a negative number, one can be positive, one can be negative. So on the other side, we're going to reverse the sign. So we got -1 and 24, -2 and 12, -3 and 8, -4 and 6. You should already be looking at this and saying, wow, this is already, it's taking me long to do this problem. The second step, or no, not the second step, the next step is to find what pair will give you +10. Right there, 12 minus 2 is 10.
Mhm.
So now the problem is you have to arrange this quadratic equation in a way so you can factor by grouping, right? So we're going to take this 3x squared, and instead of 10x, we're going to reverse it. We're going to replace them with these two values here. So we're going to do plus 12x minus 2x minus 8. So what you should see is 12x minus 2x is equal to 10x. So we're replacing the 10x with the two terms. Now, we're going to group. This is factor by grouping. So this one we're going to group together. This one we're going to group together. Well, Mr. Tizzy, they don't even look like they're the same. How can, remember, you factor, you're taking something out, right? So you look at 3 and 12, I can take a 3 out because 3 is the greatest common factor of 3 and 12. For x and x squared, you just take the lowest exponent of the base x. So the lowest one is just x. Okay, so if I take 3x squared and I pull out a 3x, the 3's cancel. X squared divided by x is just x. I have x, and then we have 12x divided by 3x. The x is canceled. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So I have x plus 4. Now, we'll do the same thing here. But this time, again, we want a factor to be the same. So we want that plus 4 to be the same. So here what we're going to do is we're going to take out a -2. -2x divided by -2 is just x. -8 divided by -2 is a +4. You should now see that they share a factor, x plus 4. Because they share a factor, you now can combine these two terms. So our ultimate answer will be 3x minus 2 times x plus 4. Now you can't remember we originally pulled the 2 out. This is why algebraic, solving this problem is considered a difficult problem because most people would take 5 to 10 minutes to solve this problem. So what I suggest you do, again, instead of doing that, just do the multiplication. So right away, I know I need to get minus 16. Minus 2 times plus 4 is a minus 8 times 2 is minus 16. It could possibly, it could be this one. Plus 4 times 4 is a positive 16. It can't be that one. Plus 4 times plus 2 is 8 times 2 is 16. It can't be that one. Plus 4 minus 4 is minus 16. So it could be A or D. So I'm going to do this one first. X times 6x is 6x squared. X times minus 4 is minus 4x. Plus 4 times 6x is a positive 24x. And then, where is it? X times minus 4 is a minus 16. So that's two ways you could do that problem. So it's either one. Again, you could also multiply this one out. So I don't like that I just found out, but it's okay. 3x squared plus 12x minus 2x minus 8. 3x squared plus 10x minus 8. We still have that 2 on the outside. 6x squared plus 20x minus 16. So again, there's ways, instead of you solving algebraically, eliminating those multiple choice. Very good. Here, factor x squared plus x minus 6. This is very similar. Instead of you trying to factor it, just do the multiplication. So we know plus 2 and plus 3 and plus 2 is a positive 6. So our last term is negative 6, so it can't be that one. Minus 3 times minus 2 is a plus 6. So we know it can't be that one. So we know already we got a 50-50 chance between A and B. So just being able to multiply binomials. X times x is x squared. X times minus 2 is minus 2x. 3 times x is a positive 3x. 3 times minus 2 is a minus 6. We can combine like terms here. X squared, 3 minus 2 is 1. Then we bring down our minus 6. We don't need a 1 as a coefficient, so we get rid of that. Erase all of it. So x squared plus x minus 6, that's what we're looking for. This is the right answer. Now, another way you could have done it is when your coefficient is 1 in front of your x. I'm going to show you. Watch this. I'm going to show you a little shortcut. A nice little trick. When the coefficients are 1, this works. Minus plus 3 minus 2 is a plus 1. So plus 3 minus 2 is 1. 3 times minus 2 is a negative 6. What you should notice is, quickly, this is the coefficient of my second term, 1x. This is my last term. Done. Hold on, Mr. Tiz, it can't be that simple, right? Hold on, give me another example. Give me something else where I can see it. So x squared, let's do x squared plus no, minus 3x minus 18. Okay, so what two numbers can I put together to give me minus 3, but multiply together to get 18? So 1 and negative 18, 2 and negative 9, 3 and negative 6. Change the sign, minus 1 and 18, minus 2 and 9, minus 3 and 6. So what you should see is, what two numbers will give me minus 3 and multiply to give me negative 18? Look at that. I'm already done. X plus 3, X minus 6. Now let's check it. Minus 6 plus 3 is negative 3, the coefficient of my second term. And then 3 times minus 6 is negative 18, my third term. You're going to have one like this. I can almost guarantee you. You're going to have one like this. I can almost guarantee you. Okay? Same thing here. Now, the difference here. So look at this one. X squared plus X minus 6. X squared plus X minus 6. They're the same expression. Here, they're telling you to factor it. Here, they're telling you to solve it. The difference is to solve an algebraic, to solve a quadratic equation. One of the ways you can solve a quadratic equation is by factoring. So we already know this answer is X plus 3 times X minus 2. To solve it, you find the zeros. So what values of X would make this 0? The opposite of plus 3 is what?
-3.
The opposite of minus 2 is what?
+2.
That's it.
Mm.
So sometimes on the exam, they're going to ask you to factor it. Sometimes they're going to ask you to solve it. You got to be ready for both. That's almost another guarantee. Oh, goodness. Now, this one I pulled from a task exam. And most people get this incorrect. This is one of the easiest problems on the exam. So, under your formula sheet, they give you a formula, the quadratic formula. That formula is minus b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And you're probably sitting here, oh my God, Mr. Tizzy, my head is about to explode. No. Remember, always go back to what you know. Do not get intimidated by difficult problems on the GD. Go back to what you know. If you know this is the formula for the quadratic formula, start with a quadratic equation. AX squared plus BX plus C equals 0. So A is my coefficient of my X squared. B is the coefficient of my X. C is the coefficient or my last constant. So here, they're giving to you. They're giving you A, B, and C. My B is right there, -3. My A is right there. My C is right there. So all I'm doing now is identifying what's A, B, and C. This was my B. This is my A. This is my C. So instead of A, I'm going to put a 2. So 2x squared. Instead of B, I'm going to put a -3. -3x. My C is -6. I'm done. Done. Always go back to what you know. Most people miss this problem. Just, I never seen anything like this. Yes, you have. This is the quadratic formula. To solve any quadratic equation, you can use the quadratic formula. Identifying your A, B, and C and plugging them into it. Here, they gave you the portion where they already plugged in A, B, and C. So all you had to do was identify what A, B, and C was and plug them back into the standard form of a quadratic equation. Got me?
Yes.
Okay. So one of the things I noticed is that quadratic equation. So out of these, out of the ones you got wrong, quadratic equations was 4 of the problems. So
Mm.
what I want you to do is go back. I think this is right. This question, this answer might be right. No, because if it's 2 would be 2 and 1.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll check it in a minute. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you how to do this problem, right? Using the quadratic formula. Then I'm gonna show you how to do it using the calculator, right? So again, this is considered a difficult problem. AX squared plus bx plus c equals 0. My a is 1. My b is minus 8. My c is plus 11. Understand that?
Yes.
And then we just plug it into the formula that's on our formula sheet. Minus b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So all we're doing is plugging in everything that we know. So instead of minus b, we're going to put minus 8 because b is minus 8. Plus or minus. Instead of b squared, we're going to put minus 8 squared. Minus 4ac. So that's minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is 11. All over 2 times a. 2 and a is 1. All we did was plug them in. All we did was identify A, B, and C. All we did next was take that A, B, and C and plug it into the quadratic formula. Then we just doing math. 2 negatives make a positive. So we got 8 plus or minus. Negative 8 squared is 64 because negative 8 times negative 8 is a positive 64. Minus 4 times 1 is minus 4 times 11 is negative 44 all over 2.
Mm.
So we have 8 plus or minus the square root of 20 all over 2. Okay? So now we're going to simplify that square root of 20 because square root of 20 can be written as square root of 4 times the square root of 5. Because you take the highest square that goes into that number. So the highest square, so we got 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, 5 squared is 25. So the highest perfect square that goes into 20 is 4. So 4 times 5. We know the square root of 4 is 2. Then we bring down that square root of 5. So this is the same as saying 8 plus or minus 2 times the square root of 5 divided by 2. This is where people make the mistake. Because it's not just 8 divided by 2. It's 8 divided by 2, which is 4. And then 2 divided by 2, which is 1. So your answer is either 4 plus the square root of 5 or 4 minus the square root. So this is your final answer. Which is here. Got me?
Yes, I definitely got to work on those quadratics.
So now what you should be happy about is that, hold on, Mr. Tinsley. I got 8 questions wrong. I think 5 or 6 of them had to do with quadratic equations. So now let me go study how to multiply binomials. Let me go study how to solve a quadratic equation by factoring. Let me go how to solve a quadratic equation by using a quadratic formula. And then once you got the quadratic formulas down, then you come back and take this, you probably gonna get 100. This pre-post algebra test is one of the most important tests before you start studying. Listen to them tell me. 55% of your exam is algebra. If you do well in this exam, you well on your way to passing your exam with flying colors. This exam is not an easy exam.
Mm-mm.
And let's see what let me see what you got. 18 out of 28. So let's see what that percentage is. What's that? 9 out of 14. Let's just use the calculator. I don't need my calculator. Slow. So now passing GD is a little over 55%. Well, we know you're over 55%. So don't look at this exam and say, oh my God, I didn't do well. Don't even think like that. Because what I'm about to show you is, watch this. 18 divided by 28. Let's change that to a percentage. That's 64%. So that's 64%. 100%. You'd have passed with flying colors because, right? So what I would say to you is I would work on quadratic equation. I would this pre and post algebra test, take it again, and then I will work on linear equations, and then you should be ready to go take your exam. So the day is February 17th. So I would say you should be ready by the end of this month to go take your math exam. Now, if you put in like 2 hours a day, it'll be much faster than that. But by the end of this month, by like March 1st, you should be able to schedule your math exam and take it and pass.
But it's
So,
so hard to get a it's so hard to schedule a appointment.
well, it
The
depends where
test.
you live. Like I had one young
Mhm.
lady, she had to drive an hour and a half to take her exam. I had one a lady, she was in rural Washington, and all the remote exams were filled up because her closest testing center was 2 hours away. So
I have
she
three places I usually look at to see where I can schedule mine, but everything is full.
right. So
Everything is
Mhm.
full. So I look and see which one that can give me the closest one, and I go ahead and schedule it there.
so the one thing about the remote test is when you take it remotely, is that first of all you gotta have all your area clean. You cannot, they will not allow you to use your own calculator.
Mhm.
You cannot talk to yourself. They will fail you for talking to yourself, which I don't understand. If you're watching me and you're hearing me walking through the exam, why would you? Anyway, that's a whole other story. But again, remotely they got some strict rules. But what I'm saying to you, Brandy, is that took this pre-post test. This is a more difficult test. I'm telling you this, and you got 62%. You work on your quadratic equations. You take this again, and then you focus on your linear equations. Then you should be able to go and take your exam. Like seriously.
Okay.
Like I would say if I were you, I would be setting in my mind like 2 weeks from now to go take my exam.
Thank you, Professor Thompson.
You are much closer than you think you are. I'm telling you. This is not an easy exam here. This is not easy. Look at that. This is not easy.
Mhm.
These are all the basic concepts of algebra, and you got those right. Look at that. Look at that one. That's a good one. This is one of the hardest problems people have because, first of all, you got to identify this is your y-intercept. So anywhere x is 0, whatever y is my y-intercept. So I know it's y equal mx plus b plus 1. So I know it's not this. I know it's not this. I know it's not this. I'm done. For me, that's a 5-second problem. Why? Because I identify what I know first. I identify what my y-intercept is. I know when x is 0, that's what my y-intercept is. So I know my y-intercept is 1. So when I look at these equations, my y-intercept here is -5. My y-intercept here is -4. My y-intercept here is -1. I'm done. I don't even have to do anything else. But algebraically, what would you do? -4 minus 1 over 1 minus 0 to get the slope. -5 over 1 is -5. So I know my slope is -5. I know my y-intercept is 1. So my equation is y equal minus 5x plus 1. Now, did you get it right? Yes, but you probably did it the long way because, again, identify what you know. Sometimes you can get these done much faster. Like this one. This is this is Rose and Peter do some yard work for the neighbor. The ratio comparing the amount of time each one works is 7 to 4. The neighbor pays them $88. If Rose worked more, how much should each of them receive? Okay. This is just again, they're giving you a ratio. Okay? So Rose works more. So that's the key. Rose worked more. So Rose is the 7. Peter is the 4. This is Rose. This is Peter. She worked 7 parts. Peter worked 4 parts. So in total, that's 11 parts. So watch this. 88 divided by 11. That means each part is worth $8 a piece. 7 times 8 is 56. Bam. 4 times 8 is 32. Bam. Done. You got it right, but that's good. That's good. Now, this is one of the this is a hard problem here. But let me show you how you do it. Remember, what is a proportion? A proportion is 2 ratios set equal to each other. So, for example, 3/4 is equal to 6/8. So I know 3 times 8 is 24. 6 times 4 is 24. You always go back to what you know. So when I cross multiply, they must be equal to each other. So 3 times x minus 4 is equal to 5 times x plus 6. I use the distributive property. I get 3x minus 12 equal 5x plus 30. I solve for x, so I'm going to do subtract 5x here. I'm going to add 12 to both sides. I get minus 2x. My 12's cancel. I bring down my equal. My 5x cancels. Equal 42. Divide both sides by -2. X equal -21. That's one way you could do it. That's solving it algebraically. Right?
Right.
Another way you could do it is common sense. Just plug these numbers in. So 3 over 15 is equal to 5 over 5. Not it. Plug in -9. 3 over -3 is 5 over -13. Not it. Plug 21 in. 3 over 27 equal 5 over 17. Not it. Only answer left. The common sense way. Well, you got to solve it algebraically. Plug the answers in. The length of a rectangle was 6 inches more than its width. The perimeter of the rectangle was 24. What is the length of the rectangle? Okay, well, first of all, I'm going to draw a picture. That's what I'm going to do, right? Because a rectangle is this distance around, right? So I know the perimeter is 24. One side can't be 12. Because if one side was 12, because both sides would be 24, you have nothing left for the other side. So you know it can't be 12 right away, right? So the length of a rectangle is 6 more than its width. So the length is 6 more than the width. So that's W plus 6, W plus 6, W, W. This is how you solve it algebraically. So at combined like terms, you get 4W plus 12 equal 24. Subtract 12 from both sides. You get 4W equal 12. You get W equal 3. Divide both sides by 4. Now that answer is here. But they're not asking for the width. We solve for the width. They're solving for the length. So we got to take that W, plug it back into there. 3 plus 6 is 9. This problem, or a similar problem to this, you will see. Probability. This is another difficult problem. A lot of people. So the probability of rolling the 6, the only way you can roll a 6 is only 1 6 on the die. And it's 6 sides, so 1 out of 6. Compound probability is more than one event. You multiply. So 1 6, rolling the 6 the first time, rolling the 6 the second time, rolling the 6 the third time. That's what we got. 1 over 216. That's very good. That's very good. You should be proud of yourself.
Thank you, sir.
So now You want to go over the quadratic equation. You want to go over to when you take this next time, that thing's saying 100. Listen, listen. What I can tell you is the average of this assessment is usually like less than 30%. So for you to get 62 is very, very good. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. That's why I said 2 weeks. You should be ready to take your exam.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Any questions before we leave tonight? It's already 7 o'clock. Didn't time fly?
Oh my gosh, it's already.
It's already 7 o'clock.
Yes,
Any
sir.
questions before we leave? But that's very good though. So I'll look up to see your other assessments, see how you did. I'll look at them. But I want you
Okay.
working on your quadratic equations. Go to that section under there. Go in my book. Go under how to use the calculator to solve them quickly too, and go over that quadratic equation section. Then take this exam again. Then the next thing I want you working on is all the different types of linear equations. A lot of them you got right, but parallel, perpendicular, all that kind of stuff. All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Professor Tinsley.
All right, you're welcome. Y'all have a wonderful evening.
Thank you.
I'll see you tomorrow
Everybody,
for science, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'll see you tomorrow.
All
take
right.
care. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.